Today I have a very special treat for you. I'm going to be sharing my old collectible knives. Back when I was a child, a young teenager, maybe anywhere from 12 to 14, something like that. I had purchased these knives and I loved them, you know, for a few years. And then as I progressed in my knife journey and started getting to other things, I just kind of put them to the side and didn't really think much about them. I had thought that they were long gone, but about a week ago or so, I was visiting my parents. I was helping them clean out the closets and stuff in the house, and these two knives popped up out of nowhere. And it was a really, I mean, it put such a smile on my face. It was a really cool, you know, throwback, because I can picture myself when I got these things and how excited I was. So we have two different knives here, collector's knives. One's from the Franklin Mint and one's from Master Cutlery. They're both similar in their style. If you don't remember, or I don't even know if you know, Franklin Mint still exists. It may or may not. Back when I lived in New Jersey, we used to go to the mall, and the mall had a Franklin Mint store. So when you walked into the store, you were presented with a bunch of collectibles. Everything you think of, including knives. But their knife collectibles weren't really usable knives. They were just something you would display or show off to someone. And their prices were usually through the roof. All right, so first let's get a peek at this. All right, so yes, there it is. It's funny because I still think it's kind of cool, but obviously it's not something you can use. So we're presented with a very decorative knife here, okay? This one has Gandalf on it from Lord of the Rings. All right, very cool, you know, castle-like features, I suppose, on the knife. There's a fake ruby or some kind of gemstone on the pommel. All right, you can see there's a little cutout here with a nail nick. As we open our blade, I say that with quotes because there's not actually a sharpened edge at all, or even the point is not that pointy. All right, this one says Gandalf. There we go. I think it's very reflective, very polished. And this would be part of a set. So you'd have basically like all the wizards from different mythology and stuff, and you'd want to collect the whole set. That's kind of the point of the stuff from Franklin Mint. Like, you can go ahead and buy the entire set, but something like this knife was probably, if I was a total guess, I probably paid $30 to $40 for this. You know, and then the complete set might have been $500 or $1,000 or something crazy like that, you know. So the idea is that you'd go in and you'd get one of the pieces, and then maybe next time you go in, you get another piece, and you want to collect the entire collection, you know. And they did this with all kinds of different things. The one thing I always wanted from Franklin Mint that I never got was the really cool luxury Monopoly board. They had it for different things like Scrabble as well. I'm sure there's some other games too. But basically you had like your own chairs, and it was a dedicated board that was on top of a table, and it was like 3D, and it had gold pieces and stuff, like 24 karat gold plated pieces. It was just like, it was really cool. If you're playing Monopoly, that was about the coolest Monopoly board you could possibly be playing it on. So there's one of my old collector's knives. And then I got this master knife, probably around the same time. And this has a very sexy girl on the front. I'm sure that's what I thought when I was, you know, 13 or 14 years old. So I thought that was really cool and risque. You can see a dragon type pattern. All right, and what these have in common, obviously, big, huge. I mean, these are heavy too. This one probably weighs 8 or 9 ounces. Feels even heavier. Just a big old hunk. And for some reason, I've talked about this before, but we, generally speaking, not necessarily knife people, because you know a little bit more about knives than the average person, but in general, if you take a human being and you hand them a light knife and a heavy knife, they're probably going to assume the heavy knife is better quality. For some reason, we do equate heft, you know, and weight to quality. So anyway, I guess the assumption is if it's heavy, it's sturdy. You know what I mean? If it's really light, it's weak. I don't know. But let's see. Let's pop this one out. There's a tiny little nail nick you could barely get to. All right. This one actually has a cutting edge, which is kind of cool. It's fairly sharp. I mean, you can rip open a cardboard box with this or something. But that's pretty much it. We got this, you know, fire type pattern on the blade. Super cheesy. Of course, these are non-locking knives. All right, just slip joints. Like I said, at least you could use this one. Surprisingly, this doesn't look like it, but this acts like a little finger choil. It's kind of comfortable. This is comfortable to hold on to. You could actually carry and use this thing. I don't know why you would. This one you cannot. But yeah, that's my very, very cool collectibles from a very long time ago. But for me, again, it brings back such a memory because I just remember when I thought these things were awesome. And maybe they're still awesome to some people. But I've definitely departed from enjoying stuff like this. Anyway, I want to know if you guys had these knives or still currently have these knives. For what I paid for these way back in the day, I'm glad they're still bringing me joy all these years later. I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, huge blast from the past, and I absolutely love that kind of stuff. So we'll take another closer look at these before we go. You can see this does have the emblem, all right, for Master Cutlery. You got little fake jewels for the eyes on the dragon. You know, teenage me thought that was awesome. So there's another close-up of Gandalf here. Still a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. It'd be a fun little thing to play around with while you're watching the movies. This also has a little emblem for Franklin Mint. Pretty cool. So anyway, I have no use for these now, so what I'm going to end up doing is putting these on Instagram. I'll probably auction them off there. You know, pass them on to someone who's going to appreciate them and enjoy them as much as I did all those years. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.